Stars Martin Lawrence Bullard on a tour of homes made famous by the movies, and today it's Stokesay Court, which played host to Keira Knightley and James McAvoy in the Oscar-winning film Atonement.
So you're a director making a movie, and you need a swimming pool for a Roman senator, a home for an angst-ridden caped crusader, or a pad for one of a trio of angelic crime busters. In that case, you'll need one or more movie mansions. Action. Our first movie mansion was the setting of the powerful and heartbreaking blockbuster, starring Keira Knightley and James McAvoy, based on the best-selling novel. Built in 1892, Stokesay Court provided the perfect setting for the home of the novel's wealthy Tallis family. Tell me about the movie for people who haven't seen it.
It's the hottest day of the summer in 1935 in England on the eve of World War II.
And the atmosphere is charged with sexual tension between Cecilia, played by Keira Knightley, and her childhood friend Robbie, played by James McAvoy.
Cecilia's younger sister, Bryony, is an aspiring writer who's constructing stories and intrigues from what she sees around her.
And in a subtle performance that conveys an awful lot and earned 13-year-old Saoirse Ronan an Oscar nomination, she misinterprets the scene by the fountain and gets the impression that Robbie is a sinister character.
And when, tragically, a rape is rumoured to have happened outside the grounds that evening, she puts the finger on Robbie. And so the couple, as soon as they get together, are separated, and then war comes and, unfortunately, tragedy ensues.
This, the first third of the film, unfolds in Stokesay Court, which was inherited by Caroline Magnus in 1992. So when somebody calls and says, "I'd like to make a Hollywood movie in your house," what do you say?
Yes, please, come on in.
With that, 100 cast and crew prepped and filmed over a 4-month period, which was a godsend because when Caroline inherited the house, it was in desperate need of major repairs, including the wiring and leaking roof.
Every time it rained, you'd have to go on bucket patrols to see whether there were leaks in any of the wings.
And despite selling the entire contents of the house to pay for the repairs, when it came to the decoration,
the money had completely run out, so there was nothing left to even think about doing inside. And, of course, one of the great advantages is that they do quite a lot of decoration for the film, and then I was very lucky and they left a lot of it behind for me.
So you inherited the house, then you inherited the decorating. Marvellous.
Yes, exactly.
Critics had called Atonement unfilmable, but director Joe Wright had a real vision, and to help him bring that vision to the silver screen, he called on production designer Sarah Greenwood. The production design of Atonement is a remarkable achievement, and Sarah Greenwood and her team rightly won a BAFTA and earned an Oscar nomination for their work, from the jaw-dropping Steadicam shot depicting the devastation on the beaches of Dunkirk to the perfect transformation of Stokesay Court into the 1930s Tallis family home.
Working from the novel, the atmosphere of the novel and screenplay, you really got the feeling it was set on this very hot day of summer that was about to crack. It was about to kind of blow.
For God's sake.
There was a tension rising. And I suppose it's an atmosphere, and it's up to me to interpret this atmosphere that we need to put into the house. One of the things that the house gave us was this incredible kind of dark, double-height hallway that was wood-panelled, and, you know, as a representation of the dark heart, of this dark secret that the family have, it worked really well.
This is a key example of how production design is not just about the decoration. It literally creates the mood and sets the tone for the whole movie. Another method Sarah used to set the tone was colour. Specifically, a colour she found at the National Trust property, Tintsfield House.
One of the things that we found at Tintsfield that was very critical was this colour green, this kind of arsenic green. And had I not seen that, I wouldn't have had the confidence to have used that colour. It's a very poisonous colour. There's something off-kilter about it. And to use that as a kind of representation of what's about to happen, it made it so perfect for our film. One of the other things that we found at Tintsfield was the chintz, was all the patterns, was the flowers on flowers and pattern on pattern. And Joe was very, very particular about this one in Brownie's room. He wanted her to be, it's almost like Sleeping Beauty, so this plant life had grown up around her.
Do you mind if I come in? With this room, they put these fabric panels up on the walls, and it just filled these very, very bare white spaces that I'd inherited. And of course, it all had to look absolutely perfect for the film. But the reality is, when you look behind the panel, you'll see that it's battens and staple guns. But it made this room actually usable, livable.
Yes.
When a relative walked in at the time of filming and saw it, she said, "It looks just like it did when we first came here."
Due to the popularity of the film, Caroline now offers tours with some fascinating insights, including how the filmmakers worked around Stokesay's Grade 2 listing.
What you're looking at, in fact, is a complete film set.
So
That is...
So this isn't real?
No, behind all this scenery, this flattage, it was fairly austere, and it has oak panelling up to this height.
I love you've kept this a living film set.
It is fun. It's not totally practical. As you've just seen, we've had to cut a hole to get through to the light switches.
Other transformations were a bit more high-tech, including some clever CGI.
They digitised out a whole wing of the house for the film, so a whole wing is missing. The fountain, they've constructed a polystyrene statue of Triton, which is described in the book. And of course, when Keira Knightley dives into the fountain, it's only a few foot deep, but she dives into a water tank at Pinewood,
giving an end result that is seamless. And before the filmmakers left, they returned the fountain to its original design. But
This looks very familiar.
It's the figure from the top of the fountain. It's actually made of polystyrene, so it's incredibly light. It was brought down here pristine white, and they decorated it in the workshops, and the birds completed the paintwork.
Sarah and her team transformed the billiard room into a library for Cecilia and Robbie's pivotal love scene. And note the green dress mirroring the colour used earlier to promote a sense of unease. However, whilst the writing would soon be on the wall for Robbie, it was the paper on these walls that makes this room fascinating.
Ironically, the production team basically covered up most of the walls in the house. Yet, a bespoke wallpaper company loved the extraordinary original wallpaper. So they've created this truly delicious line of wallpapers.
Watts of Westminster produced a Stokesay Court collection based on the original designs. This particular wallpaper is one of them, and it's so lovely to have them because it means I can decorate and keep it looking as it did originally.
Yes, it's a decorator's dream, actually.
And a house owner's dream, a cash-strapped house owner's dream.
I love that.
Touring Stokesay with Caroline, it became clear to me that not only did Atonement help redecorate the house, but she thoroughly enjoyed the experience.
And has it changed you? Has it changed your life?
Enormously, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity
Yes.
to see a major feature film being made. What a wonderful thing for me. So I'm very glad I did.
And of course, the filming has opened a new chapter in the history of this magnificent house.
There we go.
Fascinating. Next week, Martin's in California at the jaw-dropping Hearst Castle, built in the 1920s by one of the world's richest men. It was rumoured to have cost nearly $10 million to build and furnish with artwork.
And of course, that was when $10 million was even bigger than it sounds. In today's money, it'd be around 111 million.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's got an amazing swimming pool.
I would expect so.
As well. Yeah.